What's going on, guys, and welcome back. We are still in my shop, as you guys can see, and sorry these last couple videos have been in here. It's just kind of how it worked out. So if you guys have been following along for the last couple videos, we did our first ride on the XCR. We threw some heavy duty springs on it. We're trying to get this sled to act like we think it should. So with that being said, you can see behind me, if you saw in the end of the last video, all the suspension is completely out of this thing. Skids out, front shocks are out. So what are we doing? I was able to put 400 miles on my sled. Bruce is able to put, he's got a decent amount of miles on it too. And now we're starting to play with things. We needed to feel what they felt like factory before Bruce can really start changing things. So we're obviously changing things. So he had a couple, he changed some stuff in his rear shocks, valving, piston, stuff like that. He really liked it. So I ended up sending my shocks out. He actually put something different in mine than his, so I could, we could see how that works. But pretty much the gist of it is they're too soft. They blow right through the stroke, even with the heavy duty springs. It's not enough. So he needed to go inside them, change valving, and really get them to work properly. The fronts, they weren't terrible. We, thought they were pretty decent. So we're gonna try actually some stiffer springs, which are, XCRs come with 100-pound springs. We're gonna try 120-pound springs, that's what comes on the cross country, the 600 cross country. So we have this big old CNA box over here, and my shop is literally, well, it's my gym, as you guys can see, but it's also my shop at the same time. So CNA, and if you guys followed along for the build video, Bruce didn't have the exact skis that I wanted. So we hit up CNA, and they were, of course, as always, right there to help us out and get these right out to us. So these went to Bruce's. So these are skis, and there's some other goodies. So we're gonna get this box open and show you guys what we got. I'm gonna have to put this down. So this is what came in the box. So we have skis, which are XESs. I was running XPTs, great ski. I just like a little bit more bite, which the XESs do. We have new ski springs for our front shocks. We have a new center spring, or spring for our front track shock, which is just a single rate. It's not a dual rate. Dual rates, this is your factory spring. That's the spring I'm gonna be trying. And then you obviously have your front track shock and your rear shock. Just by pushing on them, you could tell there is such a difference in the valving that he did. And we're just gonna see if this combination works. It's, this is kind of, and again, we're late to the season, so we're just getting some stuff. Ignore everything on this board. Someone wrote it in Sharpie, didn't know it, but we had 5/8 inch of preload on the factory front ski springs. They were ran down as far as they could possibly go, but again, we're gonna go a little bit stiffer on the spring. So we're gonna start a 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch of preload on that, and then on the front track shock we're gonna start at like a 1/4 inch. So again, this is just a test and tune and see if it works. We don't know if it works. Again, that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to come up with something that if you guys call in and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, this is the way that I ride, okay, this is it. This is the valving we're gonna put in, this is the springs we're gonna put in, and that's gonna get you guys out on the snow and be happy on the snow. We've talked about it, a lot. This season gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So if we can facilitate and get you guys, happy on your sled, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing all this stuff together. I gotta put the bushings in the skis. I gotta put ski springs on, get all that, get the skid back together, get the skid in the sled, and that's it. I'll probably touch on a couple points, along the way, so you guys kind of know what's going on. But that's really the gist of what we're doing. We're tuning, we're testing, we're trying to get you guys happy. We're trying to get these things working the way that they're supposed to be. And you've seen a lot of complaints about how soft they are and everything like that, and we understand it, we feel it. That's why this sled's in a million pieces right now, is because we're not happy with them either. So don't worry, we're gonna find something out. So I'm gonna get to working here, and I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, this is where we are. We have shocks in, preload set on the front track shock, which we did just a 1/4 inch to start with, and see how that is. Clickers, high speeds are in 3 clicks. Low speed is not even in at all. It's all the way out on all 4. So we're gonna start those clickers on all 4. So these are set. I did go with 3/8 of an inch of preload on these. So I wanna see how the sled sits with that much preload in it. Because again, they're stiffer springs and it's a decent amount of preload, so should pick the front of that sled up, you know, decently far and get that front of the track off the ground, which is, you know, big thing. So I still have to mess with the skis, but I'm gonna slap the front shocks in. I'm gonna get the skis all set up, get them on, and then get this thing back on the ground so I can get this skid in. Weird thing, this nut here, which goes on the front bolt of your rear shock. I was tightening it and I'm like, that doesn't feel right. And it actually pulled the threads right out of it. I wasn't even close to being tight yet. You could just, you know what I mean? You could just tell that something's not going right. So I had to run to my local hardware store and get a replacement nylon nut. Remember, that washer goes on that side. There's a flange bolt on that side. So she's ready to go in there. So let me get these front shocks on, get the skis on, and get it on the ground so I could throw it in. And we're back on our own 3 feet, technically, not 2 feet. So skis on, carbides on, front shocks on, and rear skid in. Feels pretty good in the rear, feels really good, much stiffer. I don't want to say stiffer because then you guys are going to think it's rigid, but it's much... I guess you call it stiffer. I don't know, and it's squeaky like crazy right now. I don't know why, so. I gotta see. I did grease everything before I put it back in, so I don't know what's so squeaky right now. I'll have to find out, but it's gonna do it for the install of this, and then I'm gonna go and ride it and then let you guys know how it is. So here we go. And that's the only footage that I got because my GoPro still is messing up. I ordered 3 Enduro batteries, which everyone's telling me that is gonna solve my issue, so fingers crossed. But it's not really the video. You can't tell much from it. You can't really tell much from the video. I just like putting it in there to show you guys that, you know, the riding and try and get, you know, as much as we can. So we have Nash. Nash, say hi to the people. What are you doing? You want to sit on my lap? All right, come here. So, how did it feel? It felt like a completely different sled. It didn't even feel like the same sled. It was super anti-bottoming. It was plush in the little stuff, but, you know, would get stiffer as it went through the stroke. And he throws up. I was finally able to like look at, you know, a big G out or a big hole coming and be like, wow, I could hit this thing and it's gonna, you know, it's gonna take it. The clickers, I'd never even touched them actually. I did bottom the front track shock once or twice, but it was on a really big hit. And again, my clickers aren't turned up at all. They're still as far out as they were the last time, you know, or at the beginning of the video. So I'm very happy with where it is. Bruce is happy that I'm happy. You know, because that's just another setup that he has out that does work. And again, he has a different setup than I do. Scotty has a different setup than I do. And then Bruce has like 3 or 4 of the guys, or 2 or 3 other guys, I should say, that he trusts to give him feedback. And it's nice just, again, being able to look at the bumps and being like, wow, this thing is going to absorb them. And is this needed for everyone? No. Are the heavy duty springs needed for everyone? No. You know, if you're riding somewhere where it's flat all the time, I mean, your sled's probably going to be incredible. But for us Northeast guys, and I know there's some spots on the Northeast where they don't get as much traffic, but where Bruce is and where I am, we get bumps, big bumps all the time. So that's why all this stuff is needed. And I don't want you guys to watch this and be like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. You know, each case and each rider is different. It's not going to be the same across the board. And that's what's so tough about dialing in your suspension is, you know, there's not just one golden answer that'll help everyone out, because I like something different than someone else likes something different than the next person, and it goes on and on and on. And I've said this before, very rarely do you find 2 guys that like the same thing. So next video is actually me and Bruce and Kate taking my sled, Bruce's sled, and the infamous 600 cross-country sled out and going and testing them and jumping back and forth and seeing what each one feels like. But as for me, we kind of knew that we were going to have to revalve, but it was 110% a good call for me. I now am really enjoying the sled. It's what I wanted. It's what, you know, I think the sled should feel like. Will we end up changing more stuff? I'm 100% positive that we will, but we're just trying to, you know, we needed to start somewhere and go from there. So I'm happy. You know, Bruce is happy, I'm happy. And if you guys do need any type of shock work, Bruce is doing literally shocks day in and day out. I was just at the shop with him, you know, a little while ago until, you know, 9 o'clock at night, still just valving shocks. Shocks. Because a lot of his people are not happy with how it's feeling, so we're fixing that. But that's probably gonna do it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, as always, make sure to put them down in the, you know, comments. I will get back to you guys. And but that's it. We have some more good stuff coming up. I have a big trip planned up for next week. I think I'm taking off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to be up on the hill. So from Saturday to Wednesday, we're going to be up on the hill is the plan as of right now. So if you see me up there, as always, make sure to say hi. But that's going to do it, guys. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Nash, say bye. Say bye, dude. See you guys.